Hello and welcome to our coffee chat. I'm so excited. I'm joined today with Katie Stewart, who is a holistic nutrition practitioner helping people clear chronic acne through root cause inside out approach. Her own health journey led her to holistic nutrition, and now she helps improve their skin, confidence, and mindset through deeper understanding of health and wellness with her clients. Today, we're going to dive into her story, how she found her niche, and how she built a purpose-driven brand rooted in lasting results over trends and quick fixes. Thanks so much for joining me today.
No, I'm so excited to be here. I love any time that I get to hang out with CSNN.
Awesome. So let's start.
Yeah,
Can
let's
you
do
share
it.
with your personal journey, like what brought you into holistic nutrition, what sparked your interest in the field, and ultimately led you to study at CSNN?
Yeah, so my family's still shocked. I'm a nutritionist, if I'm being completely honest, because I grew up in the 90s and 2000s and like they called me carbocade. Like I only ate grilled cheese and chicken fingers and pierogies. Like I was not a healthy eater. So I never had nutrition as a career in mind at all. I
Mhm.
actually went to school for journalism and television. So I spent 14 years working in television, 14 seasons at Hockey Night in Canada behind the scenes, and I did 4 or 5 years as an on-air videographer, location host at a local cable station in my hometown of Hamilton. And like I said, I had no idea I was ever going to be in this career, but got assigned to work on a gluten-free cooking show. And I'd never heard of gluten in my life. This was like circa 2010. So like gluten wasn't a thing like it is now.
Yeah.
And I remember her like talking about the impacts of gluten. And I was like, this lady's nuts. Like, there is no way. Like, I only eat gluten. I only eat dairy. And I
Yeah.
was like, you know what? I'm going to give it a try. And I removed gluten and my lifelong migraines I'd had since kindergarten that I took a prescription medication for, gone. No more migraines. And I was like, oh, man, okay, well, maybe this lady is onto something.
Yep.
And then I took dairy out and my stomach aches went away. And at the time, I had been struggling with post-pill acne because I changed my birth control around in my early 20s and
Mhm.
started dealing with post-pill acne. Had no idea it was an internal issue. So I'm battling all of these health issues, thinking that it's just normal because I've had it my whole life. And then when I discovered that the food that I was eating was having an impact on my body, I really fell in love with food and I've always been a foodie. So I actually went back to school to study nutrition and I loved the approach that CSNN had because it's that holistic mind, body, soul approach that I think is so important. And it really delves into not just like the food component, but like the whole being component.
Oh, I love that. So true, right? We often in our system compartmentalize, right?
Mhm.
You know, what's happening in the head, what's happening in the body, this symptom, this pill. So, yes, being able to kind of span back out and look at the person as a whole, internal, external, amazing. Now, looking back at your time at
Mhm.
CSN, what was your experience with the program? And were there like any courses or moments that really kind of shaped your current day approach with nutrition and health with your
Mhm.
clients?
Well, I remember my very first textbook. So I was at CSNN back in 2014, and I remember my very first textbook. I was sitting in my living room and I opened it up, and I was probably like three-quarters of the way through, and there was a paragraph about how the birth control impacts your body and can lead to acne. And I was like, what in the what do you mean? And it was one of those like cartoon light bulb moments where like a light bulb went off my head. I was like, oh my gosh, my acne isn't a topical issue. It's an internal issue. It's an external symptom of an internal issue. So that was a massive eye-opening component that really just catapulted me into all things acne nutrition because I had never thought of it that way. But aside from like that really big, I think that was probably the biggest component for me with my time with CSNN. I actually really loved learning about eating with the seasons. I don't know why I thought it was such a cool approach, but especially, living here in Canada, we are so blessed to have 4 seasons. So I just thought the ability that like we can eat with the seasons and have our body be in tune with Mother Nature, I thought was just such a beautiful thing.
I love it. I love it. Now, you've built a successful practice specializing in
Hmm.
acne and skin. I mean, how did you discover your niche?
Hmm.
I mean, that's always a thing for many of CSN grads and practitioners. We want to help everyone. The body is so interconnected, as we know. It's hard sometimes to dial it down. So, what lessons have you learned that you want to share, or like how did you really kind of dial in on that niche?
Well, I think it's important that when you go into a niche, you need to have experience with it because if you don't have experience with acne, you don't understand the impacts that it has, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. So, no matter what you go into, I do think having some connection to it, whether you've dealt with it, maybe a child or a family member, whatever that component is, to have that really strong why and that really strong foundation. And also remembering like this is a topic you're going to be talking about every single day, day in and day out for years to come. So you better love it because if you don't, you're going to get real sick of hearing yourself talk. But that's not to deter you from picking a niche, right? Because there's so many different ways of talking about it. But even just within acne, while I am talking about acne, I teach off of my 5 acne clearing pillars, which is gut health, detoxification, hormones, nervous system, skin barrier. So that's still a lot of interconnected components for the body. So no matter, whether you're picking PCOS or fertility or, endometriosis, whatever your thing is, it's going to be about the whole body anyways. So you're just going to learn to talk about the whole body through the lens of that niche that you pick.
Love it. I love it. So true. Now, people often think when we become, a nutritionist or working with nutrition, clients across the country, you got to do it one to one. Now, your
Hmm.
career has expanded
Hmm.
beyond one-to-one
Yes.
client work, right? To include entrepreneurship, team building, hiring fellow CSN grads.
Hmm.
So, can you tell us and walk us through a little bit how your business has evolved over the years? What inspired you to become that educator, right? Because you're not just working one to one, you're doing a multitude of different disciplines, right? So what got you there?
Like I said, is I never thought I would be sitting here doing what I'm doing now. When I first started, I actually worked for Julie Daniluk originally, which is another one of our, distinguished alumni grads here at CSNN. I worked for her as a videographer. So while I was still in CSNN, I was working for her, doing her videography for her online courses, learning from her because she's such an incredible resource. I was so grateful for that. And I really was able to see like, oh, like this could be an online business. I could work with more than just one to one because Julie ran group programs. She had courses. She did one-on-one work. So I really saw from an early point in my education that I could do this. So I always knew that that was an option. And when I first started, really taking this online, because I was seeing clients like, in person, but not in this kind of like container before. So I like to say this iteration of my company was launched late 2019. And, I knew that I wanted to do a group coaching program because I could help more people. We still do have one-on-one components in our group coaching program because I think that's really important for the niche that I'm in. That doesn't necessarily mean it is for everybody. But we started with like a one-on-one hybrid program where there was group components, there was one-on-one, there was a whole bunch going on. So in the beginning, it was just little old me and my keyboard and my laptop and, my Instagram account doing my thing. And I actually launched my first webinar, as so many of us do. I launched my first webinar the week before COVID hit. And I was so excited. I had 500 people register because Julie helped me enroll, like register a bunch of people. I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be so good. And I had like a great turnout rate. 300 people showed up. I booked 60 sales calls. I did them all. And then COVID hit. And every single person on those sales calls said, I know there's just too much unknown. And I didn't enroll a single person into my program. And I was like, okay, well, that sucks. And I remember my family at the time being like, Katie, why don't you take a break? You've had a lot of personal health issues going on, and I'm just so stubborn that I was like, no, like I'm gonna figure this out. So I kept going, and I'm so glad that I did because COVID ended up being a really, really great time to have an online business. So I was set up to go.
Mhm.
So COVID actually was a blessing in disguise for me because it really catapulted me very quickly through the online space. But I also, attribute that to my training in journalism and media and television really helped as well. And where we are today is, I've hired team members, CSNN grads. We've grown the team and like, while I don't really see clients one-on-one anymore, I'm more the business building, the marketing, the CEO, the admit, like doing all of that. So my role has changed. And I've actually really enjoyed the journey.
I love that. I love that. Now, you mentioned 2014 with school.
Hmm.
So you've been through some trends, right? You've seen
Oh
some
yeah.
stuff because it's constantly changing. So,
Yeah.
what trends have you noticed in the holistic nutrition industry over the years? And what advice would you give to students
Mm.
or new grads like entering the field today to how to kind of like weather those trends, right? What is your top
Yeah.
tips?
Absolutely. Yeah, I've been doing this for a hot minute. So I've seen, like back then it was all about plant-based. Everything was plant-based. Gluten-free got really big. Then there was like that keto wave.
Mhm.
Essential oils were huge. Like I feel like 2016 was like the year of essential oils. And
Yep.
like there's been so many of these trends over the years. So while I want to say for me, like I never put all of my eggs in one basket where I would find out ways where I could talk about those trends in the things that I was already doing.
Mhm.
So it's like, how can I relate this current trend to how I work with a client or how I help somebody where like I don't need to go and completely switch gears, but I can start to weave it more into my marketing content so that way I can still take advantage of the trend and the eyeballs that come with it, but in an alignment with what I do.
Mhm. Amazing. That's such good advice. Now, what's your overall experience with the CSN alumni and the community as a whole?
It's been really, really great. I've loved the CSNN alumni component. I did win the Julie Daniluk Award back in 2024, which was a really cool full circle moment for me having worked for her. But I thought, like just the everybody I've ever worked with in the alumni component has been fantastic, been super, super supportive. I've had lots of calls and Zooms with everybody on the team over the years. So I've absolutely loved being a part of the alumni and all of the events that are put on as well. I think they're so great to be able to network, to go and learn because like all of the speakers that you guys always have at the events are fantastic. And even though I've been doing this for a really long time, I still always walk away learning something that I didn't know before.
Love it. Yes, I was at the Toronto conference in 2024 when you got your award. See
Oh, you were?
the little video there and posted. I remember such a good
Yes.
moment. Yeah, so good, so good. No, well, thanks so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to share your experience with us. Now, if people want to follow you, follow along, see the amazing things that you're doing, where can we find you?
I am at Katie Stewart Wellness across the board on social media. So anywhere, Instagram, website. I also co-host Keep It Clear, which is a top-rated nutrition podcast on Apple. So you can hang out with us there as well.
Oh, amazing. Well, thanks again for your time today. We look forward to watching your business continue to evolve and grow. Thanks for sharing with us.
Thank you.